Good morning. Hand today is going to be pocket fives. In this hand, we have a mid position player, or say maybe early position player. Open raise to 2.8, folds around to me in the big blind, and I just call. So this player here is playing at 1911. I've got about 175 hands on him. Based on his raise first in stats, early positions 19%, mid positions 10%. Just based on the number of hands that we have, 37 and 31. Probably not getting a completely accurate picture of his raise first in stat. I'm going to say it's probably closer to about 13 to 14 total. Kind of in between there. I'm going to say 19 just seems high. 24% VPIP seems high for a player like this. Especially when you could see the numbers like increase, mid positions low, then it increases to cutoff, increases to button. And he's not really playing a whole lot of hands from the small blind or the big blind. So I think this is probably a player that's going to be right around 13%, maybe 14%. So looking at ranges, I kind of put together a range like this. This is 12.7. I think you've got your Broadways up here, your pocket pairs. How far down we go on the pocket pairs, that's debatable. Same thing, how far down do we go with suited connectors? That's debatable. I included ace 4, ace 5. I assume that this player is probably a better player and recognizes some of the value with ace 4, ace 5, at least for blocker ability, and then potential to hit maybe a wheel. So we're going to go with this range. For us, we could say this is early position, or this is a mid position player. So, technically it is EP3. So, if we look at 3 better call, we do have a little bit of difference. We're going to go with the early position play and say this is a 3 better call range. I think we're playing for some value with our pocket fives. We're playing hoping to hit, trips, and then get paid when we do hit trips. That's kind of our hope. We could always 3-bet, so like we've got a pretty strong 3-bet range versus this type player. He does fold, or he has folded 2 out of 3 times when he's opened and then somebody 3-bet. So we could play 3-bet and expect him to fold most of the hands, or we can take this hand to the flop. So this time I took it to the flop, and I flopped. Flop trips, which is pretty good. So I think here we are looking at probably check raise. I think that's what we're looking at. The board itself gives us, draw potential, both the straight and flush draw potential. I think we could have like a possibly 4 or 5. We could be over pair, 7 or 8. Somebody could be questioning what we have, or could might think we're bluffing on a low board like this. I think it would be suspicious if we check called, and then check called the turn again. I think someone's going to say, oh, what do we really have? And besides, we do have some value. So I think overall, if we break it down into raises, I think 3 of a kind is going to be our raise. I think our overpairs are going to probably be a call. So let's get this going. So we've got 5 spades, 2 spades, 4 diamonds. I think sets are strong enough. I think these overpairs probably just going to be calling. We don't really want to build a big pot, because even with our overpairs, villain's going to have those as well. I think I would leave the 1 card open enders. Well, it's just 3s, pocket 3s. No, we're gonna include those in there. That's a lot. Yeah, flush draw with the sets and leave our straight draws as calls. I think that's what we would do. So we checked, and then villain 7 checked. So we still have 100% of our range here. Villain 7 checked. I would assume he would have bet the set, and I assume he would bet the overpair as well. So I kind of think maybe top pair, middle pair, maybe. I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in some weighting. Let's do 50% chance that he actually checks like ace king, aces and kings. Leave those in there, but then queens and below, I think he probably would have bet. Trying to decide, should we include these? No, I don't think so. I think we're gonna have that. And we're gonna X out our flush draws too. All right, 6 of clubs comes up. Not the greatest. Now our 1 card straight hits. You know, anyone with 3, or if he has a 3, he hit it. I think villain checked flop. We're probably going to be betting this to get a little bit of value from our hands. Kind of protect some of our overpairs as well. So I think we're probably betting all of these with our draws. I think that would be our betting range to see if that's what I do. No, I checked it. Not sure why I checked it. We need to get some value here. So I think that might actually be a mistake. So we're going to do that since we checked it. I really think we should be betting here. Villain bets 1.4, bets small. At that point, that's a little concerning. I guess he could have the straight here, and he's looking to get paid. I think the overpair is probably betting a little bit. Maybe he's betting some of these no-mate hands as a bluff, but I don't know. I think the straight is probably the most likely candidate for us. And then based on our range, we don't. I mean, if this was actually our range here, we would be calling. So my range is just completely falling out. I just don't know why I played this hand the way I did. So let's just move on. King of diamonds. Since I already check called, why did I bet maybe to try to represent the king, but he bet small, so it's entirely possible that he's got, the straight made. Or if he's bluffing, he's not going to call. So I don't like this at all. And he raised, so at this point, I think we just fold. But I didn't, I called, so this is all just messed up. Right now, I think straight is probably what he's looking at. And he did 7-8. I didn't have 7-8 off in his range here. I had it up here, but that was, it seemed like it made sense how he played it. So overall, this was just, I think, a bad hand. Bad hand for me. Yep, there it is. Look at that. We have it 2.8 with 8-7 off from under the gun plus 2. This was just pretty bad hand for me. I think planning the check raise on the flop was fine. Once it checked, we should have bet the turn. Should have let out with the turn. We're going to be leading out with the turn with a lot of our hands. We didn't do that, and that was I'm going to say it's a pretty big mistake. That was a pretty big mistake. And then once we missed that lead on the turn, he bet small. I'm okay with a call, but then on the river, I don't know why. I'm sure I was going to bet the king, try to represent the king. But if we think about what hands will he call with, I mean, would he call with the bluff? If he was just bluffing on the turn, would he really call a bet like that? No, I don't think so. Even if he turned a king, he's gonna bet anyways with the king. So I think our play is probably just to check again on the river, check call. As played, when I led that river and got raised, I think at that point we need to fold. Yes, we have trips and we're folding trips, but villain's really representing that straight. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this hand. This is kind of a quick one. Messed up this hand pretty bad. So if you like these hands, look tomorrow for another one.